what role
do
you see
have,
yourself,
yeah.
you know, playing in the greater
Yeah.
scheme of things if you were to be around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the point, just to get it across that, you know, I am who I say I am, and the words I tell you are true, and that things I tell you are going to remain that way.
Right.
You know, I haven't lied in this game once, and
Sure.
I'm not going to lie in this game. It's all about integrity for me, and it means more to me than the game does, you know. But yeah, aside from that whole scenario about the veto competition and moving forward with, you know, my particular role, if providing I was to stay here, you know, I don't know how people, you know, view me, if they view me as a threat or not. But in hopes of taking that threat away from people, I am completely willing. Not only am I saying I'm not going into alliance, I'm flying solo.
Right.
You know, which, you know, can be rough because you're at the mercy of everybody else when you are solo.
Right.
But you know, I don't plan on getting in any alliance, and I'm sticking to that word.
Yeah.
And also, if I were to win HOH, I would completely. None of the nominees would be based on personal
Sure.
matters. What I would do is basically run a democracy, run it by through the whole house. Everybody gets to come talk to me, and the people who are mentioned the most would be the people who would be going up. I could do that either just simply through a simple meeting, and people just say, well, I think this person or that person, or I could base it off of a type of a merit system where I say, well, on a scale of 1 to 5, where do you think people sit in as far as, you know, providing help in the house?
Yeah.
Well, this person gets a 1. Okay, well, and what about in the person involving themselves with the house? Well, that person, okay, that gets a 2. Maybe, you know, come up with 3 different areas, combine those scores, and just do that for everybody in the house.
Sure.
You know, to move the threat of me staying in the house away from, you know, me being a threat, really coming after somebody.
Sure. Well, naturally speaking, independently or not, you know that at some time it will require relying on others in some way, shape, or form. There still needs to be some degree of or bond of trust with certain people, potentially more so than others, or maybe you don't feel that way. I mean, in my eyes, I feel like if you feel like you really don't have anyone to fall back on, then you know it's going to be a tough experience or whatever. I mean, do you think that your plan is still to continue to forge relationships and build friendships and what have you, just to not concretely call it an alliance, correct? Or are you really planning on really marching to the beat of your own drum?
Yeah, really, honestly, it's more of a matter of what you are doing right now, just forming relationships with people, and you know, if they like you enough, they'll keep you off the block until it comes to a time when you're left with nobody else to put up. And if you happen to be in the position that you're not HOH that week and they have to put up a friend, that's when it comes, you know, down to that actual, you know, scenario. But in the sense of me, yes, I definitely don't plan on making any agreements or alignments with anyone. It's going to be.
I think I'd also chime in at this time and say that I have absolutely nothing of that sort going on whatsoever. I have not made a single deal, negotiation, wheeling and dealing. I'll do this if you do this. It's just not. I'm not interested in doing that. That's not my cup of tea. And I feel like people set the tone for who they're going to be in this game from the minute they walk in the house. And scrambling and dealing and making false promises, it doesn't change anything. You know, if I'm on the block next week and all of a sudden 2 days ahead of time I change exactly who I've been to this point, and start making promises that I may or may not be able to keep or whatever, I don't see what value that has. I see that people are who they are, and their true colors do show throughout the course of the game, and so, you know, I agree with you from that standpoint, and I admire the notion that there's no intention of doing that moving forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's honestly what I wanted from the start, but I was kind of in a position where I almost felt the need at that point in time to move forward with something, and it grew to the numbers where I didn't even want it to be a 4,
Right.
and I was just, you know, and I'm not sad that it fell apart, because now if I do stay, I'm back to where I originally wanted to start, was by myself, and not having to try and stay in tight formation and get to know, you know, everybody on that more personal level. So
If I ask you a question about sort of that, or the group at large, do you feel you'd be able to answer without having to insult and disparage anyone or throw anyone under? Because I don't want to put you in a position where you need to blow up anyone's spot or say anything derogatory about anyone. But I do have a question that I'm curious about.
Yeah, shoot.
In your estimation, I think it's pretty obvious that Nick and Zach have had many obvious verbal disagreements this week. It's almost, in my eyes, as if they're going out of their way to make a big point of the fact that we don't like each other. It's like there was never an issue, then all of a sudden this stuff all comes to light, and it's like all day, every day, go away, man, I hate you, what's going on with this? Your opinion, won't hold it to you, we'll never mention it again, we'll not state your name as it relates to it, we'll never discuss it with them. Do you think that they still have a closeness, or do you think that, and that this is all for show, or do you think that through whatever has gone down, that there is a legitimate rift there at this point?
I think there might be a legitimate